Let us stand to honor those that have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Today we combine our love of golf with our love of country, patriotism, sacrifice, honor. And today we do indeed stand to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our nation as we gather at Treetops for a weekend unlike any other.
Welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television, celebrating our 20th season of shining the spotlight on the best places to stay, play, and enjoy the greatest game on earth. Stay connected 24/7 to MGL on Facebook, Twitter, our weekly radio show, and podcasts on the all-new 4golfersnetwork.com.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Bill Hobson, and if you have ever played golf in northern Michigan, this is probably a familiar scene to you. We're standing on the first tee of the Treetops course at Treetops Resort in Gaylord. But this is not just any show about any golf destination. This is instead a collection of patriotism, honoring the bravery, the sacrifice, and the incredible fight for freedom that so many have fought for. You know, in athletics, we often hear the phrase, I don't play for the name on the back of my uniform, I play for what it says on the front. Well, this show is all about the names that are on the backs of the caddy bibs, because every single one represents a person being honored, being played for, being competed for, and most importantly, being remembered. Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate this special edition of the program, I want to officially welcome you to the 2019 Patriot Shootout at Treetops. When you hear cheers, when you hear enthusiasm like that, it's pretty cool. It's like goosebumps stuff because patriotism is thick in the air at Treetops. Kevin McKinley's the director of golf here. What's that like for you? This is your event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily consider that they're cheering for me. I think they're cheering more for themselves and their country, and boy, every one of them that's here, that's celebrating this weekend with us, they all deserve it. So
there are 3 different flights of golfers competing in the Patriot Shootout. There's a civilian flight, and then 2 military divisions. How did those players become a part of this day?
They just asked. You know, and initially when I started this event, I kind of went out and searched for players. And then just word of mouth gets around, and different player comes one year, and the next year he or she's got 3 or 4 friends with them. But really, I'm a not really say no type of guy.
The more the merrier.
And so if you can raise money for the Folds of Honor, that's the prerequisite right there. You got a free weekend here at Treetops Resort if you can raise a certain amount of funds for Folds of Honor Foundation. We love it when the military, when veterans or actives come up to play, but if you're a civilian and you love your country and you love the military and you want to support them, then you're welcome to participate in this too.
This is probably the 8th or 9th year that we've done this program with you. The first time, though, that we've seen the Stand to Honor tribute there at the range, where we're on those boxes bearing the name of a serviceman who's passed, his boot prints on the top, and in a couple of cases today, his parents standing in. I can't think of a more moving way to remind everybody, even if they're just here for a fun weekend of golf, not related to the event, to remind them that there's something more to life than making birdies.
So, you know, I got that idea from the Folds of Honor Foundation. They had done it in some other cities, and I don't think there's been any other golf event across the country that has done it. So hopefully that'll start a trend there. But, you know, when I think of the Bucklands and when I think of the Johnsons that were here and the Eckerts that will be here a little bit later tonight, the fact that they keep saying yes and that they keep coming back and that they mark this date on their calendar lets me know that I'm probably doing something a little bit right.
Well, on the program today, we're going to show you a little bit of golf. We certainly can't capture every shot struck in a 3-flight tournament. For me and for this guy, the most important aspects of today's program, and one of the reasons it's a special edition for us, is we're going to share some of the stories that you heard, including this one featuring the Johnson family. This nice lady and this brave gentleman wearing shorts on a chilly northern Michigan morning are the parents of Joe Johnson, who gave the ultimate sacrifice a few years back. You've got his button right there on your jacket.
I do.
Tell me some stories about your little boy.
About my little boy. Joe was an adventure from the get-go. I caught him one time fishing in the fish tank with pliers.
With pliers?
With pliers, yes. And then he took all the fish out and put them in the toy box. And he was an adventure.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment, no.
What prompted him to join the service?
Well, he liked to do crazy things. For instance, he jumped into the power canal in the Upper Peninsula in the Sioux, and the Sioux College sent him home. And I said, listen, if you want to do crazy things, why don't you join the Army and let them teach you and pay for your health insurance? So he did, and he became a combat engineer, and then airborne, and then rough terrain airborne, where he would strap on a chainsaw and jump into a tree, and then rappel and cut the tree down to make runways. And then he became route clearance patrol, which is where he and his company would go ahead of everyone else and sweep for bombs.
Joe did not live a boring life.
No, he did not. No.
My understanding is that he also, though, when it was time to kick back over on deployment, he had a little more luxury than some of the others. Is that right?
He did. He took his couch to Afghanistan.
That doesn't sound like an easy thing to do.
No, but he said, you told me I could take what I want, and I want my couch. And so here the other guys are, sleeping on cots, and Joe Johnson just sitting back in his couch.
Does he have some of Dad in him?
A little bit. Yeah.
You know, sadly, that call came, or that knock on the door. I'm not sure how it all unfolded. What do you remember about that day?
I remember that day that we were laughing and we were having a good day, and the doorbell rang, and I ran up the stairs, and there were 2 men standing there in uniform, and I was a little confused. I thought maybe they were there for a donation. I didn't know, and they said, "Are you Mrs. Johnson?" And then I knew, and I said, "No." And they said, "Could we come in?" And I said, "No." But somehow they came in, and I remember, on behalf of the President of the United States and the Army, we regret to inform you. And I don't remember much after that, except thinking, don't worry about me, Mom. Don't worry unless you see a couple of soldiers at the door. That was the start of our new reality.
And so here we stand at a Folds of Honor event in northern Michigan to honor your son and to help families of those that are left behind.
Yes.
What does Folds of Honor mean to the 2 of you?
Oh, the families, the kids are what are so important. And Folds of Honor to us is what helps them fulfill their dreams. These kids are amazing kids, and they're going to change our world. And Folds of Honor allows them the start to do that.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. I know we could talk for hours about Joe and probably hear a lot of really good stories.
Really good stories, yeah.
But thank you for allowing him to serve our nation, to fight for freedom, and for being a part of this special event. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you, too.
Thank you. We are just getting things started with this special edition of the program from Treetops Resort in Gaylord. And in case you didn't know already, red, white, and blue is the color theme of the weekend. What a time we're having on behalf of the Folds of Honor. More to come after this. welcome back into our special edition of the program from Treetops Resort in Gaylord, Michigan, where the Folds of Honor is being honored. Funds are being raised during the Patriot Shootout, and there are so many good stories to tell here, even while the competition unfolds. Let me bring in Ryan Munson, who's been a part of this for a very long time. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
You have, and I think this is the first time I've ever asked you this question. For whom are you playing? Whose honor are you playing?
This year I'm playing for a really good friend of mine who passed away last fall, U.S. Navy SEAL Chad Wilkinson, who I went to high school with in Quantico, Virginia back in the days when Dad was Marine Corps and his dad was a Navy SEAL. So
SEALs don't die, but this one did.
Yep.
How hard was that for you being so close?
This was a tough one. When I heard the news that Chad had passed, my first reaction was, man, it must have been a bad dude that got him. I just couldn't imagine a scenario where somebody was more prepared, more accurate, more physical than Chad. He was the epitome of man, and turns out that Chad took his own life at his home late last fall, and I was right. It was a bad man that got Chad.
What was that funeral like when all those SEALs gather?
It was straight out of a movie scene, Bill. The coffin was in the sanctuary there, and probably close to 200 Navy SEALs were there, and they walk by, grab their pin right off their chest and smash it on, hammer it down. And I alluded to it earlier, but his uncle and his father are both retired Navy SEALs. And so there was a pause after the general procession, and then his uncle gets up, smashes his pin down. And then a few seconds later, his dad gets up and smashes his pin down, and it was the most moving thing I'd ever seen in my life. There wasn't a dry eye in the place, and you're talking about a place filled with Navy SEALs.
The beautiful scenes that you find all throughout Treetops are really quite difficult to match anywhere in America. And they're made even more special by what you see unfolding during this special Folds of Honor Patriot Golf Weekend. We come here to the 9th tee where a folded flag greets all the players, all the competitors, and you see a jacket with a message like this: "The nation which forgets its defenders will itself be forgotten." And all of it serves as a reminder to us, to you and me, that there's a lot for us to do to help care for our veterans and for the families of those left behind. When we come back on the program, I'll introduce you to the family whose son's loss started all of this. When we come back with more from Treetops in Gaylord. We are heading down the home stretch of this special edition from Treetops Resort in Gaylord during the Patriot Shootout weekend to benefit the Folds of Honor Foundation. And I don't know who's going to win each of the 3 flights. We'll be on the 9th green in just a moment to see how it all comes out. I do know this: nobody's going to be dressed better than this guy. Bill Riley, all the way here from Nebraska. How are you, sir?
Very well, sir.
And Mr. Haller, your caddy, has a name on the front of his bib, another one on the back of his bib. Why don't you speak to the players you're honoring, the people you're honoring today?
The person on the front of the bib is my caddy's father. He was a crew chief on CH-53s back in Vietnam. He just passed away about 4 weeks ago. And so honoring his memory, and Dan getting a chance to come out and wear his dad's name on the bib.
Danny, your dad would be proud to see you honoring him that way. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And on the back side?
And on the back, this is my grandfather, Jerome Needfelt. He passed away about 15 years ago. He was a radioman on PBYs late in the late 40s after World War II. And I was a flight engineer on P3s, so I was lucky enough to graduate flight engineer school while he was still with us. And he was there at my graduation, was able to pin my aircrew wings on me, and I've got pictures of that. Wow. So that's...
You must have been able to swap some pretty cool stories.
Absolutely. And the Folds of Honor, I've been a pretty big part of that charity myself, even before getting here, is just an amazing cause as far as taking care of those that are left behind.
As we meet the finalists in the civilian division, now their match referee is the big guy. Nobody messes with the big guy. This is Big Joe. How's it been going, man? It's a windy day out here.
It's blustery wind. I've had some players having to back off. Bobby's had to back off a few shots, and some of the other guys. And it's been a good match. So we've got two good competitors here, Bobby and Bryce.
Introduce us to our finalists.
So we have Bobby Stasak right here with his good-looking caddy down here.
Sharp-looking kid.
Yeah. And then Bryce Paremba is his competitor.
You guys have both been in this position before. You fight hard to get here, right? And you finally step onto 9. You find out that you're hitting an uphill par 3 into a hurricane, essentially. So your thoughts as you get ready to finish things off?
Pick a club and commit to it, right? So at the end of the day, it's all for a good cause. And whether I win this thing or Bryce wins this thing, it seems like over the years we've battled pretty good. Yeah, so absolutely. I'm pretty happy it's me and him on 9.
And we have a winner in our civilian flight. It's a familiar face because normally Bobby Stasak is presenting the hardware to somebody else. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So that we didn't have that awkward moment of you giving yourself a trophy, Kevin McKinley's going to come in.
I'm gonna stand in. You do a pretty good job with it usually, but you got her done this year.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Coop. Coop, me and him have had a tough last few years, late eliminations, and this year we looked at each other and said, let's get it done. He pulled me off a few shots. He handed me a couple different clubs, and you know, luckily we were able to pull it out.
It takes a smart caddy to sometimes work with a player who's, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. By the way, Bobby's normally here presenting the trophy on behalf of Group Golfer, because what your group does benefits this event greatly over the years. So on behalf of Treetops and Folds of Honor, thanks for all the Group Golfer does.
Yeah, I think it's a great event. Kevin, he's a saint. Everything he's done, just not for this foundation itself, but for all the people around him. It's just an attraction that you want to work with the guy, and we're just fortunate to do so, and we're just grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
We head back now to the 9th tee here on Treetops because the military first flight is ready to wrap up its championship. Mark Hogan normally wears a referee's shirt when he's calling high school games, but refereeing this match, what's it been like?
It's been outstanding. I tell you, with the conditions today, with the wind, as much as it is, I saw one fella hit a wood, if you can believe it, on a par 3.
I can believe it.
Which is very, very unusual to hit a wood from 165 yards. But been some great golf, been some great short game. I think we're in for a great last hole here.
This has been a challenge for the best players and some of those who struggle, just like you said, because of the conditions. I don't know how well it comes across on camera. 25 mile an hour is what we've seen in the weather app. So it's really a challenge.
It is a challenge. And with this format, with the horse race format, and it's basically match play.
Yeah.
You have to play the guys that you're with, and if you hit a bad shot, you just stay in the game. You got to chip it close and move on to the next hole.
So who survived? Who made it to this point?
We've got Bill Riley and Dave Nye doing really well. So both these guys have been hanging right in the whole way around and been showing some great short game and some great shots off the tee too.
We have a winner with a beautiful birdie in the first military flight. Dave Nye, the golfing guy. You can pretend your hands are shaking, but you were rock steady over that putt.
Pretty close. It wasn't quite all that steady.
It wasn't that steady? Well, it looked good from here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you played pretty well up here from Ohio, and you served our nation. What branch?
Army.
What years?
68 to 72, then got out, came back in, went back till 78.
You're still just a kid.
Well, I had to have a lot of kids, so I went back in, so the Army helped pay for it. And they did.
Well, you get to take home a little hardware for the mantle. And Bobby, who collected some hardware just a moment ago.
I can, from experience, it's pretty difficult. On behalf of everybody at Group Golfer, Treetops, the Folds of Honor, and everybody else that participated today, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Yes.
And along with the trophy, Dave's name goes on a locker in the clubhouse. It's kind of a nice little perk as well. Congratulations.
Yes.
Our final group of competitors in the second military flight come to the 9th hole. Nick Lewis has been officiating this match, keeping order at all times.
Yes, sir.
Who have we seen advance to the finals?
Well, after a field of 14 competitors, having to lose 3 competitors on the first hole, it was a little rough.
It took a while.
Yeah, it did take a little while, but we're left with our final 2 of Dan Holsey and Josh Ryan over here.
All right, so Danny, first of all, congratulations on getting to this point.
Appreciate it.
For whom are you playing? In whose honor? Turn around, caddy. We'll see that on the back.
Playing for PFC, Cody Board.
Tell us about Cody.
Cody Board was a friend of mine from Apache Company, 1-2 SCR, died from pressure plate IED in Afghanistan back in 2010. But he always had a smile on his face, and he was one of our good friends.
Wow. And were you nearby when all that happened?
I was not. He was a Apache company. I was in the headquarters recon platoon somewhere else when we found out about it.
We've talked a lot about how golf interacts or intersects with patriotism during this weekend.
Absolutely.
What's it like for you to play this game, but to do it in his honor?
It's awesome. I think everything that we fought for over there, like being able to play golf and come out here and do this is kind of the whole point about it. Like be out in nature, have the freedom, be able to remember those that sacrificed their life for us to be able to enjoy this time.
Well, good luck to you. Now let's find out the same answer over on this side. In whose honor are you playing?
Well, Bill, I'm playing for my grandfather, James Ryan. He served in the Marine Corps for 4 years, from 1949, I believe, to 1954. He's just been an inspiration to me, kind of my hero. Yeah. You know, and what better person to honor is your grandfather. You know, you're kind of proud to have not only, you know, you have your name, my name on the back representing him, so it's very special.
Very cool. Well, clubbed properly. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. It's a little breezy out here. Just a tad.
It's been that way all day.
I had a full head of hair when we started today. So play well. We'll see you up on the 9th green.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, it took a playoff and a lot of drama, but we have a winner in our second military flight. Dan's the man.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Appreciate it.
On a gusty day like this, you pulled it out. A nice par here in the 9th, along with the Glory. A locker with your name on it in the clubhouse, and Bobby from Group Golfer, it's got a little something.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Great battle today.
Appreciate it.
On behalf of Group Golfer and everybody at Treetops Folds of Honor, we just congratulate you on being the 2019 champion.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Do you have a lot of other hardware on the mantle back home?
Not too many.
So this is it?
This is a pretty cool one.
That's not a bad way to go. Well done, man. Great playing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
This wonderful time at Treetops got its original motivation through the sacrifice, the loss of Brock Buckland. And Mom and Dad have been here at this event every year since
the beginnings.
Dwayne and Dawn, what does this event mean to you as a family?
I think with Kevin's leadership, what he does, the focus of this whole event, in addition to raising funds for the children of the fallen for education, it recognizes the contribution of our military to our country. And no other group that I know of, no other event I've been to, does it quite like Kevin does.
You see these names on the range, painted in by hand, including, of course, your sons. Dawn, what does that mean to you? Yeah.
There's a lot of moms going through the same agony. I'd rather talk about the positive aspect, you know, of what has come about as a result.
Well, that positive aspect is tens of millions of dollars raised for the children of others who have been left behind. But I also know that the original scholarship recipient is just a couple feet away as well. So you have that long-lasting family heritage to kind of mix in, I don't know if it's right to say this, but to mix in some celebration with your sadness. Is that fair, Mom?
That's fair.
There's no question. Yeah. There's goodness that has come out as a result of it.
Yeah. Well, I know it's emotional. I appreciate you both taking a few minutes to share with us. And if you've ever wondered if the Folds of Honor was real, it's real.
It's real for a lot of people.
This incredible event at Treetops is about more than just lists of names. It's about the stories behind those names. Men and women who have bravely given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. As we close the program in much the same way as we ended it, we remember these three, but we also remember all the rest. As together with Mrs. Johnson, with Mr. Buckland, and on behalf of Mr. Eckert, let's stand up. Oh, okay. Lee. And now, friends, my encouragement to you is this. Go online to foldsofhonor.org and make a donation to help the families of those left behind. Stand to honor.